Alright, today I'm going to be talking about beard balm. I'm going to be just doing kind of a general overview, what it is, what it's made out of, what it does. Review, tips, tricks, pretty much whatever comes across my mind as I sit here and probably ramble a little bit. Gonna be a probably a bit of a rambling video. Try to make this one a little bit longer. So, beard balm. What is beard balm? Beard balm is a conditioning product. I see it primarily, or pretty much exclusively, as a conditioning product. I don't see it as a styling product. That's just me personally. Your experience with it may be different. But my experience with it is that it is pretty much exclusively a product to use for conditioning. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a bit. But beard balm is an all-natural product, or if it's made correctly, it's an all-natural product. Now, if you shop at Walmart or Walgreens, or here in Colorado we have Natural Grocers or Vitamin Cottage, which is like a chain type what's it called, a health food store, just natural grocery store. I mean, I guess the name pretty much explains it, right? Natural Grocers. But I've come across some beard balms there that are not natural. So always read the ingredient list if you're concerned about that kind of stuff, which I am. So yeah, there's definitely some bad balms out there, but a good balm is an all-natural balm. It will be comprised of three foundational or fundamental ingredients, being oil, usually more than one kind, but oil, butter, sometimes more than one kind. It's usually shea butter, if not additional types of butter. And then wax, which is usually beeswax, almost always beeswax, but I have had some that had additional types of wax in it. Can't think of what the other kinds are called off the top of my head, but anyway, so those are, the base type key ingredients. Sometimes there'll be additional ingredients in a balm. So when I come across that, I usually research, or not usually, I do research what those other ingredients are before I make a purchase or evaluate it any further. Because if there's something in it that is like some weird, hard to pronounce chemical, then I probably don't want that. I probably won't research that. But if there's something like this stuff, for instance, this is Beard Brand's balm. They call it utility balm, but it's just beard balm. They call it utility balm because it can be used. A beard balm is, as stated earlier, is a moisturizer. So I wouldn't really use it as like a full body moisturizer. I would use oil, just like straight up oil before I used a balm. But balm could be useful for like a particularly dry area, like if people like have like super dry elbows or something like that. The balm would probably work a little would probably condition a little better or moisturize a little better than just oil, or definitely better than like a commercial lotion. I would definitely avoid commercial lotion. Anyhow, this Beard brand white label stuff has lanolin in it. So lanolin, when I saw that, I researched that to see what it was. And if I remember correctly, it's like a waterproofing type of component. Keeps moisture in, keeps moisture out type of thing, I believe. It's derived from, I believe it's derived from sheep or lambs or something like that. So this particular product is not vegan friendly, I guess. But anyway, there's like a Boss Man brand product. They have tocopherols or tocopherols or something like that in them. I don't really remember what those are, but I looked that up and it looked like it was, fine. So always research if I don't recognize an ingredient in something like this, because I definitely want a beard balm to be all natural. I don't think everything needs to be all natural. I don't think it's like a critical thing necessarily, but I think for a beard balm, I should definitely be all natural. And in the general sense, I like to use mostly all natural oil-based products to clean and groom and moisturize and whatnot, because I just think it works better than commercial type chemical product. And I've used both. So definitely check the ingredient list. If you're concerned about it being all natural, definitely check that. Regardless of the packaging or whatever, beard balm is like food. It might be marketed and packaged in a way that makes it seem like it's all natural or like it's a good choice, but always important to read that ingredient list. So I think it's important, well, for me it's important when I am looking at purchasing beard balm that the order of ingredients is important, but specifically one of the things that I think is important is checking that the top 3 ingredients are quality ingredients. Or one thing, so when I look at the top 3 list of ingredients, what I don't want to see in there is beeswax or wax. I don't want to see a wax component in the top 3. I don't want to see coconut oil in the top 3 ingredients. And the reason for that is because beard balm is a product that could be very easily homemade. So like beard oil, for instance, I don't really purchase beard oil. I tend to only use balm in my beard unless the hair is like really short. Like if I were to like trim it down super short, then I'd use oil until it got a little longer. I would use oil until it got a little longer, like till it got long enough probably to grab a hold of with a round brush. But when I do use oil, I don't buy beard oil because I don't really see the point of paying like $15 for an ounce of oil. When things like this is argan oil, cold pressed. It's also organic. I don't really care about that, but it's cold pressed, which I do care about. And this is a 4-ounce bottle of high quality oil, argan oil, and it's also about $15. So to buy a beard oil just because it has a nice scent to it, it doesn't make sense to me to pay like 4 times as much or more. So with that same sort of philosophy in mind, when I see a beard balm, commercial beard balm, or mass-produced beard balm that has wax as like the first ingredient or second or third ingredient, or coconut oil, I know if I were to buy those ingredients myself to make my own stuff, the wax is the cheapest ingredient, like absolutely the cheapest ingredient. And then coconut oil, I don't have anything against coconut oil per se. I think it is for certain hair types, not mine, but I think for certain hair types it can dry it out. I have read that. But anyway, so I don't have a problem with coconut oil per se, but I know of like all the high quality cold pressed oils, coconut oil again is on the cheaper side. As far as like a per unit or per ounce cost, argan oil, jojoba oil, castor oil, these kind of things are more pricey, and basically because they're not necessarily higher quality, but like basically if I'm going to spend money on something that I could make myself relatively easily, I want the top ingredients to be high, like the highest quality ingredients. Not possible, but like I just don't want them to be like the dirt cheapest ingredients that someone could throw in there, because I don't want to do that. So for instance, referring back to this beard brand balm again, shea butter is the first ingredient. Shea butter is also really not, the oil is going to be like the most costly ingredients in a balm, but shea butter being first is cool because I'll get into why I think that in a second. But anyway, so shea butter, and then it's mango seed butter, so it's a lot of butters to start it out, because the next one is cocoa seed butter, then lanolin, then jojoba oil, apricot kernel oil, fragrance, and beeswax. So that to me is acceptable. And the other thing that's important to take into consideration is that the actual formula is important here too. So for it to have 3 butters as the top 3 ingredients, most prominent ingredients, well, that contributes to like the formula of the how easily it emulsifies or breaks down, and just sort of like the general texture of it. So like a balm that has a bunch of oil, like if there's say like oil is the top 2 or within the top 3 ingredients, if there's like 2 oils listed in the top 3 ingredients, then it's probably going to be a more oily, greasy looking type of balm. I've used some like that, and they emulsify really, really easily. It takes like 0 effort to melt them in the hand, but they have a bit more of a greasy look in the hair, or in my hair at least. So that goes back to the formula. Just because like the oil is like the highest quality / most expensive ingredient doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be like the top 3 ingredients are filled with jojoba oil, argan oil, and whatever. Because I prefer sort of a mid-level. Basically, the way it can either be oil heavy, it can be wax heavy, or it can be butter heavy. Is kind of the way I think of it. And like the wax heavy ones are really hard to melt down in the hand. This here I have is Honest Amish beard wax. It's called beard wax, and beeswax is the first ingredient. But I knew that buying it, I actually wanted to try this as a mustache wax to see if it had like any extra hold in it, and I don't think it does, which is why I say that I think balm is just a conditioning product and not a styling product, because even when it's like just like, you know, probably like a step shy of just being a straight up mustache wax, I still don't see that it really has any hold to it, for me, in my experience. So anyways, this is why, you know, first ingredient is wax. It's a wax heavy product, and it is a lot harder to emulsify and melt down in my hands. And those like cheap balms they break down usually a little easier than this, but not much. It's just because they're really wax heavy, and then there's the really oil heavy kind that are kind of greasy looking. And so I prefer like the sort of middle ground, butter, where there's a butter, at least one butter in the top 3 ingredients. So those are things I look for when I'm shopping for beard balm. I don't think it's necessarily like, for me, it's more for value that I do that, more so than like because I think it's like awful to use a beard balm that has beeswax and coconut oil as the top 2 ingredients. Like, I don't think it's bad. I just think it's not as the most bang for my buck. Let's put it that way. But I really like this stuff. If I were to recommend, if somebody asked me, you know, what to get for beard balm, you know, what would be my go-to recommendation, or just to keep it simple, you know, somebody just wants to be told what to do, what would I tell them to do? I tell them to buy this stuff. Why? One, because it's really easy to get a hold of. It can be ordered on the Target website, but I would assume most people live pretty close to a Target. I know I've always lived like really close to a Target. Well, not always, but for a while. So that's good. Like if it's like, you know, there's an immediate need that can't be shipping is not an option. Can't be waited for. That doesn't sound right, but whatever. You know, and there's other kinds at Walmart too, but or wherever. Like pretty much every place carries beard balm now. But the reason I would recommend this one is because it's a really good deal. It's $15 for 3.4 ounces. So that's a pretty good deal. I think the next best deal I've been able to find is like, this isn't really recently, but within the past year, I think, is when I last really dug into this. Honest Amish on Amazon had like a 4-ounce container that was $22, I think, or $24, something like that. And like there's Honest Amish at Walmart, but it's a 2-ounce 10. And I think it's at least $10. I think it's probably closer to 15. So yeah, this is it's a good price, and then it's a good formula in my opinion. And they have, this one is scented, like a sawdust kind of scent, and then they have an unscented one. So I suppose if you wanted to, you could scent it yourself, or just wear something else that's scented and not have it conflicting with the balm potentially. But yeah, this is definitely what I would recommend. Beard brand. I'm not a beard brand fanboy by any means, but you know, This stuff is $15, and then they sell basically the same container of stuff that has a different scent. It has more expensive essential oils or whatever in like the same size container with the same ingredients. It's set for the scent based ingredients. It goes from 15 to as much as like, I think it's like $38 for their gold line. That to me is insane. Like, no, not for the same ingredients except for the scent. Like, no, thank you. But this is a great deal. So yeah, I'm not a beard brand fanboy, but it's the best deal I can find. So can't not recommend that. I've read in like reviews of like on Amazon, or just reviews of balms where people have complained that they're too greasy. This is too greasy, and it may be an oil-heavy balm, which could be the case. But I also suspect, I don't remember exactly what I read, but I got the impression that they were probably just kind of like smearing the balm on the like superficial layer of the hair. I got the impression that they were probably doing something like this with it, like getting it all over the hands and then just like wiping it over the top of the hair type of thing, like this, which would leave it like coating the top of the hair, and then not, it's going to take forever to oil. If you're just using like a straight oil or beard oil or whatever, it's going to be the same issue. Like, it's going to take forever for the hair. Like if the product is just sitting on top of the hair, like the hair can't just absorb it. It's really more the skin that absorbs the product, and I think the hair absorbs it too, but I think the skin really is what needs it more so than the hair. So when applying balm or oil, it's really important to get up. I like to go against the grain or the lay of the hair and really push hard into the skin. That's going to leave it the least greasy looking, and it's going to absorb, it'll absorb quicker that way. It's probably not a very scientific way of saying it, but yeah. It's also important not to use too much. I use about half, for what I have right now, I use about half of a thumbnail, which is like, half the nail, and then probably like that much, or probably like that thick. Not a super thick layer, just scrape it till it looks, but it doesn't need to be a ton. Easier to add more later than try to get rid of a overly greasy looking beard, or just walk around with a greasy looking beard. The reason I don't think it's a styling product is because I've never, a lot of people talk about hold, like the hold of a beard balm. How much hold does it have? I don't see that. I've never come across, I've tried probably 5 to 10 different balms. I've never come across one that has any hold on my hair. And I've used some real wax heavy types, I've used some real oil heavy types. This stuff as well, I use this. I don't see that it has any real holding power. Nothing that would last longer than a few minutes maybe, which stands to reason because the way it's made, it's not really like like it's meant to absorb. It's a conditioning product, so it's meant to be absorbed and taken in by the body. So it's not like it's a chemical like a hairspray that's not meant to be absorbed by the body. It's meant to sit on the hair. It's a natural product. The body absorbs it. It's a moisturizer, basically. So, yeah, I don't really see that beard balm as a styling product. I don't think of it that way, and as a result, I don't assess it that way. I wouldn't rate a balm based on how well it holds or doesn't hold, because I don't expect it to hold in the first place. So, not a styling product. There are styling balms out there. I'm not aware of too many, other than Beard Brand makes one, which again is pretty expensive, and it's, at least as of right now, it's not available in this white label kind, so it's only the more expensive lines. So I don't really have a need for a styling balm anyway, but I wouldn't buy that. There's another one, I think it's made by a company in the UK. I remember seeing a different person on YouTube review once. And so those are both water-based products, or like the first ingredient, water, or aqua, I guess. Aqua or agua? Maybe it is aqua in that case. Anyway, and then there'll be a bunch of weird, hard to pronounce chemical names in it. Those I'd be careful with. Like the Beard Brand one, I know is like beard safe or whatever, where it's not. Basically, the concern would be that the product would dry the hair out, or like create some type of buildup. Like it's inadvisable to use like typical commercial style shampoo and conditioner in a beard, because it is too harsh for the type of hair that is on the face. It's different. Facial hair is not the same kind of hair as head hair. So too harsh, but also probably the bigger concern, because like obviously I wouldn't want to be overly harsh to my hair, but that could be restored. But the bigger issue is that those products, like conditioners in particular, have like silicones in them that'll build up on the hair. And I forget the details from there, but basically it's not something that it's something I would try to avoid. So, by that same token, it would be wise to avoid any sort of poorly formulated beard product that would cause the same kind of buildup. So I know the Beard Brand stuff is beard safe, as is the that UK brand that I don't remember what it is anyway. And there's probably others out there, but that's not a conditioning product. That's a styling product. That is meant for styling purposes. And I don't think that it really has any significant conditioning ingredients in it. But yeah, I would not recommend purchasing a beard balm, traditional oil, butter, wax balm. That I would not look to that as a styling product. I would look to a hair dryer and a proper brush, or comb, depending on the hair type and what the styling goals are. But yeah, I think a lot more can be accomplished with a hairdryer and a good technique, or maybe one of those the heat brushes that like heat and straighten it. I don't think that would work very well for me because my whole approach is to actually shape it around my the curve of my jaw structure. So to like use a brush or comb or whatever it's considered to be, heat brush things that would just go straight down, like I would probably not look good. Could, but I don't anticipate that. I wouldn't anticipate that really working for me. But for someone who has, maybe like a super curly, kinky kind of hair, I could see that working better. Or someone who has a different face shape, maybe. But yeah, for me, it's pretty important to get it shaped around this curvature here. So, point being that tools, heat-based techniques and tools are going to provide a lot more hold or styling potential than just a balm. So now I'll talk about what brands I have experience with using. So I've used Beard Brand, obviously, Boss Man, Honest Amish. Honest Amish, I've used a lot of. They have different kinds, I guess. So the wax, like I said, I've used the wax. I've used the heavy duty. The heavy duty is really similar to the Beard Brand balm. That would be as far as like the actual formula, like the actual feel and just the balm itself. Honest Amish heavy duty would be my second recommendation to, or it would be, as far as the quality of the balm, I would recommend it just as much as the Beard Brand. It's a little more expensive though. But the Honest Amish stuff can have a weird scent to it. It has, when I had the heavy duty, it wasn't really scented. It just smelled like the natural oil and stuff. And then this wax I got has like a licorice, I think it's called anise or anise or something like that, smell to it that it's not bad, but I don't exactly like it either. So I don't know if the heavy duty has that now as well, because the heavy duty I purchased was like back in like probably like 2015 or something. But other than that scent, yeah, it's fine. So anyways, I've also used, and then I've used the Honest Amish. So I've used the wax, I've used the heavy duty, and I've used the just the regular kind, which that one's a little oily. That one can leave a greasy look on the hair, even using the appropriate amount. It's not terrible, but it's just, it's more noticeable. I've used the Boss Man is one of the ones that's really it's like beeswax and coconut oil, first three ingredients. They definitely have one of the best smelling products that I've ever smelled. The Stagecoach scent is a really good scent. and it's definitely the longest lasting scent I've ever come across. It doesn't last forever, but it lasts way longer than anything else I've used. Like, I'm able to smell it way longer than anything else I've ever used. But yeah, it's that, you know, sort of cheap ingredient type balm. I've used Badass Beard Care. I don't remember how that one was made. It smelled good though. And I've used actually maybe everything I've used as far as balms go. But a lot of them, like that Artius Man is seems like it's a more popular brand, but again, it's coconut oil and beeswax, so. Alright, I think that's going to end my very long and rambling talk about beard balm. Let me know if you have any questions by leaving them in the old comment section. And until next time,